Unfortunately for you, it is Jim. And today we're having ourselves a little GLOG going on. Yeah, y'all heard me right. I didn't vomit my words just then. GLOG. GLOG. It's like a vlog, but it's a gaming log. Why couldn't I have come up with a better name? Well, you see, naming conventions really get thrown out of the window when one of the top podcasts on Spotify is something named anime or anime P word. I'm going to have to bleep out what I just said because YouTube does not like strongly worded intros on their site. Didn't you know it? So yeah, I'm not joking around. Naming conventions, anyone can have success. It just needs to be short, snappy, a few syllables. And so this is what I'm going with. GLOG. What I'm going to be talking about today? Well, I was going to talk about my plans for the rest of this year, which is really just the next 2 months, and subsequently the next year entirely. Maybe I don't even want to go that far. You know what? Let me just start off small. I'm going to talk about these next 2 months and what the plan is for my content, streaming, the background scenes, everything. So barring what's been happening recently in America, we could talk about this all day, and I've already spent a while re-recording myself actually talking about it, but then going back and then just redoing this all over again. I'm just gonna cut straight to the point. What's been happening recently sucks immensely. Our country has been the most divided it has ever been from recent memory, and all that it seems that I could do is just hope, right? Expect the worst, but hope that to you viewers who see this, to friends, to family out there, take care of yourselves, take care of your own, but don't be ignorant to what's been going on. Be aware. Do as much research as you can about what's going on. If you're in the more populated areas, or if you're in somewhere where you feel unsafe, be around people that do give you that comfort, that security. Because as much as folks will have you scared about the results of the election, what has me even more anxious, potentially even frightened, is the reaction from the results of this election. Who's going to be out? What will be the public reaction? Will there be conflict in the streets? What will happen next? Who will throw the first stone, or who will light the first Molotov, right? Who's going to throw the first tear gas? Talk about real things from time to time, and that's the real thing I wanted to talk about, was just being aware. Keep in contact with those you love. Tell them you love them. Tell them you care about them, because it's situations like this, when we're still in a pandemic, an extremely hazardous situation. Don't forget about the priorities that are at your side all along, right? Never know when it will get taken away from you in a second. You never know when someone will make a decision for you if you don't make one for yourself. Barring what's been happening recently, let's just talk about escapism, because I'm sure that's what a majority of us want to experience right now, because everything is so tense. Everything is just so just so wild, right? Buck wild. It's nuts. So let's just talk about the next 2 months in our lives. And what's at least going on for me is that PS5 coming out. I do not have that pre-ordered, though I do see a few other content creators have it pre-ordered, apparently, like Fighting Cowboy got it. Did Indie Mouse get it? I know that Prod got it. I don't know. Just a few lucky bastards out there were able to get their hands on it when the bots finally took control and started taking all of the pre-orders that were coming out the day by day, right? So to those who got the PS5 pre-ordered and are getting it day one, I hope y'all have fun. My plans for the PS5 and more importantly, Demon Souls, right? I'm going to be in it to win it, but I don't know when. Well, in fact, I do know when. It's the moment that the PS5s become available that 12th. I will have to order one, but I don't know how long it will take to get to me. Who knows how long the shipping might take, especially with everything that's been going on. So whether it's the same day or it's even the same week or even later, I will have y'all know that I am getting that. And I do want to be a part of Demon Souls ever so much, because I haven't even played the original one, the one that came out on PS3, because I never had one. I have not tried to emulate it. And at this point, I am just waiting for the remake experience, just to try it out for the first time and go from there. I'm pretty sure that everyone's feeling for Demon Souls is overwhelmingly positive, at least for the single player aspect. There's still some unheard discussion from the community that I've seen about the PvP and our potential worries and expectations for it. If y'all have paid attention to interviews with the game director, I implore you to look up Game Informer, or was it Kotaku, or Polygon, one of those three, actually having an interview with the game director to talk about new features or old ones or remade features in Demon Souls. And one of the answers that the game director ended up talking about was PvP balance, weapon balance, stuff like the scraping spear was explicitly mentioned. And for all intents and purposes, paraphrasing, the game director just stated, as a matter of fact, that these things aren't really changing that much. In fact, if I remember correctly, he stated that, just because someone can use the scraping spear against you doesn't mean that you can't use the scraping spear against them. So it sounds like the team, Blue Point, want to keep the authentic Demon Souls experience, not just in the single player, of course, beefing up the graphics and all that, but keeping the movesets the same, keeping the bosses while upping those graphics as well, those mechanics staying the same, excuse me. But it sounds like they want to keep the PvP the same, and that is crazy, because that PvP was by no means smooth. There is lots of old jank in that one. So I'm curious to see how that 11-year-old PvP system translates into a remake like this. If they're going to, say, keep instant backstabs in or instant parries. Will you be one shot by a Dragon Bone Crusher with Curse Weapon on it from a running R1? Will that still be a thing? Will the Scraping Spear... Will there be a gank of 3 people hitting you with the Scraping Spear until all of your stuff breaks? And if you were AFK as a host and an invader came in while you weren't there, and suddenly when you come back, you're soul level 1 because they stole all of your souls out of you, would that still be possible? Because that was the authentic Demon Souls experience. Will they leave that in there? Because honestly, part of me is like, wow, that sounds terrible. And the other part of me is like, wow, that sounds amazing, because that is the Demon Souls experience. And if they changed it, they would either have to have a really good reason for doing so, and they are fixing some of the jank, like hitting bosses before fog walls or certain sequence breaks, glitches, like being able to go through the map just to get through certain areas or to bypass certain bosses. Y'all know how these work in Souls games. It exists in Bloodborne. It exists in Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1. Demon Souls was no exception, but the game director said that they were going to fix those, but not everything, such as the scraping spear. And it would be interesting to see the gameplay dynamic, or layman's terms, the gameplay meta, if it's really going to emulate the 11-year-old Demon Souls experience. And that is just like my whole shtick about it. I'm just like, if Demon Souls does come out this way, and it turns out that it is mostly the same old game as it was before, what will be the community's reaction to it? Will they rebuke it and be like, I'm going to go play Dark Souls 3 on the PS5 now. I'm going to go back and play Bloodborne because that's free on the PS5 now. All of this stuff, like just like when Dark Souls 3 came out and it got heavily criticized, the PvP did, in Invasions, right? And many folks were like, let's go back to Dark Souls 2. And then when Dark Souls 2 came out, many folks were like, oh, wow, this PvE was terrible. Let's go back to Dark Souls 1. And the cycle will most likely continue, because it did happen with Dark Souls Remastered, that this old, janky, one would even say archaic gameplay design came back into the forefront. Instant backstabs, chain backstabs, the fact that you can't zoom with crossbows. You had to either lock on or free aim with them. We would have to wonder what quality of life assurances that the remake might have, what other additions or non-additions, one could say, that the remake might have. Will it keep folks around playing it? For me, this is like a new Souls game for someone who hasn't played Demon Souls, and I really want to sink my teeth into it as much as I can, despite what folks say. And my same sentiment to y'all out there who are fortunate enough to have the money to buy PS5 and get Demon Souls. Buying those things is another issue entirely, by the way. But let's say that you do get it and you are going to be there with us. Don't, even for those who can't even buy it, don't even assume for a second that everyone's going to enjoy what the new thing is going to be about, what Demon Souls will be about. Even from your most trusted source, don't even assume that if they don't enjoy it, that you won't enjoy it. Or if they enjoy it, that you will enjoy it, right? If it looks janky, doesn't mean that it feels janky to play. Or if it doesn't look janky, doesn't mean that it doesn't feel janky to play. I mean, I'm going all over the place right now, but what I'm trying to say is that take everyone's word for the Demon Souls remake with a grain of salt. It could be the greatest thing since sliced bread, because Sony is like, this is one of their big openers for their console, whereas Halo Infinite is stuck in delay hell because Lord knows what's going on with that development cycle, and 343. But Bluepoint seems to be on their A game with this. They seem to know exactly what they wanted to do, and they set out to go do it. And now we're just a week away from playing it. And I'm curious what sort of surprise we're all going to get as players. while we're waiting for Elden Ring, which is the real big something new, which is the real big surprise. But Demon Souls Remake was, let y'all know, it was a surprise. That's most of my disjointed thoughts, at least on Demon Souls and PS5 in a nutshell. Believe me, I'm also looking forward to other games like Bugsnax. Oh man, I could talk forever about the whole implications with that game. The fact that it's trying to be on the face, very cutesy and welcoming, but also trying to on the nose say that, oh, we have something a little special underneath, something a little dark, something a little sinister. We've not really hidden it in all of our trailers. It's out there for everyone to see. Come play our game. It's on PS4 and PS5. So for those people who aren't getting a PS5, but you have a PS4, consider getting Bugsnax. Let me just tell you. Oh, speaking of other games that aren't Souls related, right? Let me talk about some other stuff that I've been playing and that I might make content for. Might. Be a big word on might. I really need to feel the inspiration to do it and to really get my procrastinating ass to work if I were. But let me tell you about these other games. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Legends is specifically the co-op DLC. I made one video about it a couple of weeks ago, expressing my worry on its product, on how it would come out. Again, even if it's free content, I still wanted it to be the best potential online co-op that it could be, because I was already in love with Ghost of Tsushima's gameplay. I wanted to see how that gameplay would transition into a online co-op experience. And let me tell y'all, it has been a smash success. Not perfect. I could tell y'all in another video. Well, I'll probably summarize in this one here, but it is still smashing. Amazing. To play with, to play with anybody, even with randos, provided the randos don't freaking DC on you. But even alone, and you actually can play Legends alone while offline. It doesn't require you to be connected to the internet to play Legends. In fact, you could it just means that there's more content. When the Legends update came out, they not only gave players a new game plus and a more, a higher difficulty lethality and more content in the single player game, but they gave us Legends. And it is great. The story missions all have their own, the way they're constructed, the way the classes are formed as well, everything. They were able to take all the gameplay pieces from the single player and add in new dynamics as well to let the Legends not only be a great addition, but to stand on its own as a nice addition to an already spectacular single-player experience. And I will make a small note on what I think is not so perfect about it, and that's more towards the end game of Legends when it comes to the RNG and the loot system. It runs into a similar issue that Destiny once had, maybe still has to this day. But barring that, its gameplay is still incredibly enjoyable. What I'm more curious about Legends is I wonder, now that its raid is out, the 3-parter raid, right? Now that its raid is out, I'm curious to see how far Sucker Punch might take support of Legends. Will they continue to tweak and fix what is a bit off about it? Gameplay mechanics, will they tweak or nerf certain things? Will they better the RNG and looting systems? Like what else could they possibly do? Because they've already been adding to it. They've already been patching it as we speak. I'm just curious to see how long the support might last, because rumor has it they're working on a sequel. So who knows in that regard. For now, I'll drop Legends. I just wanted to let y'all know that I'm interested in making content on it. What kind of content? Who knows? maybe a guide or two, because when I see certain folks play certain classes in Legends, it makes me shiver my timbers, because y'all, you know what? I'll leave that for another time, if I get around to it. No promises. That's going to be one of the biggest phrases this GLOG. No promises. No promises for me. Whatever happens. Next game I want to talk about, besides Demon Souls, besides Legends, besides Bud Snacks, is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Currently, my game of the year 2020. Technically, 13 Sentinels did not come out in 2020, but it came out in 2019 in Japan, but only recently got localized and released in, Western areas this year. But let's just assume it came out in 2020, because this is perhaps my favorite game of this year. Again, this is pre-Bug Snacks. This is pre Demon Souls, right? But I feel so confident that I don't even think Demon Souls will top this thing. I don't even think Bug Snacks. Yeah, I got you. But 13 Sentinels was such an experience. 13 Sentinels is one of those games I wish I could mind wipe myself just to play again, because now that I've finished it and platinumed it, it's one of those games where you're left with that feeling of, I just want to know nothing so I could play this game again for as long as I did. And let me explain to you what this game is about, because the advertising around it has been scarce, because Atlas, the publisher, localization publisher, the same one who had control of like Persona and SMT Nocturne HD, let me tell you something. 13 Sentinels, one sentence. You can control 13 characters as they go into these huge mechas, huge robots called Sentinels, to fight off invading kaiju that are threatening their home. And that is the simplest way I could put the plot. The gameplay, on the other hand, let me also split that up as simply as I can. The gameplay is cut between two parts. The first part is a 2D based adventure game centered around you taking control of these 13 different characters, finding out their stories, finding out why they got into these Sentinels, how they got here, right? While also figuring out their relationships, figuring out more plot twists along the way, because this plot isn't as simple as I already stated, but to explain more would defeat the purpose. That's the first part, is the 2D. Oh, by the way, this 2D portion of the game might be the biggest portion of the game, because the creators of this game, Vanillaware, their claim to fame is creating these beautiful hand-painted 2D animations through everything that they do. Their past games, Odin's Sphere, Dragon's Crown, and hold on, I want to remind myself, what was it? It was Muramasa, the Demon Blade. So those three that everybody sort of points to is like, wow, that's peak Vanillaware. They worked on that, and now this game, 6 years after their last game, Dragon's Crown, 13 Sentinels, this apparently was the game that they've been wanting to work on for a while. And Lord God, I cannot sing the praises of this game enough, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, restart over. 13 characters. They get into robots to fight kaiju. First part of the game is a 2D adventure game where characters talk to each other And believe me, people talking to each other, when you get hooked, that's all you want, is just people talking. Like, yes, keep talking, keep explaining. I want to know what comes next. Like, you get enraptured in the thrilling aspects of this game, in the drama, in the mystery of the plot. But the second half of it is the actual gameplay. And it varies differently from the 2D. It instead goes into a different plane of 2D in a RTS. Y'all heard me, a real-time strategy, where the 13 characters get into the Sentinels to fight the kaiju. You actually take control of them to fight the Sentinels. Real-time strategy. It's a semi-real-time strategy, though, because whenever an action is ready for one of your characters, time will stop, and it will give you time, as much time as you want, to have that character or that sentinel do an action, like shoot rockets in a certain area, or punch one of the kaiju to death, or rip them apart with saws. You know, it's I enjoy it. I am not the biggest fan of RTS, but I still am a solid fan of one from the stuff that I have played. And the type of RTS that was used in this game, I feel even non-fans or casual players would be able to enjoy and also feel the intensity of these battles as I think they were meant to convey, which is this last-ditch effort to save your city with these 13 Sentinels, because it feels like an onslaught is just coming after you. That is the essence of 13 Sentinels. I feel where I feel inspired to make stuff for Legends, like guides and stuff like this. For 13 Sentinels, I don't even know where to begin if I were to make content on this game. Other than maybe the first thing I were to make on 13 Sentinels is just to tell other people, this is a game y'all should get. It's on, but the thing is that 13 Sentinels is a PS4 exclusive, and that's what hurts me so. Because I want the most amount of people to play this game, because the advertising has been non-existent. The sales in the West have been low. Few people know about it, but the people that do think it's great. There's two people in the world when it comes to this game. You either think it's great or you haven't played it yet. Okay, maybe there's three people. The third person hasn't even heard about it yet. They don't even know it exists. That's what kind of game this is. I feel that strongly and passionately about it. And even if it doesn't hold up, and y'all end up getting this game and you're like, wow, I actually did not enjoy that experience, I at least hoped y'all would give it a try. Because what this game is, it's like a mismatch of like this combination of sci-fi tropes, but also mystery, and has compelling characters. Like, you'd be surprised. These 13 characters, you'd be like, so somewhere along the way, there's got to be some duds. And then you realize, no, each one of them is interesting in their own way, has agency. And some, they have their place. They rock. They rock. If it took them 6 years to make gold like this, I cannot wait for what Vanillaware makes next, because this is a diamond in the rough of a game. That's how I feel about it. I'm gonna breathe. Now I'm gonna move on because I'm freaking at the 30, nearing the 30-minute mark. Two other games I played this year that I really, really, really enjoy: Hades and Spellbreak. Really quickly, Spellbreak is a lot more easier to break down. Spellbreak is a battle royale. Y'all have heard of this one before. But what's interesting about Spellbreak is that it is the most unique battle royale that I've played yet, because it involves around the idea of magic. And this idea around using magic rather than, say, using guns or driving around vehicles like with Warzone, Call of Duty, PUBG, or building structures like with Fortnite, is that the magic system in Spellbreak is particularly unique in that everything, just everything that forms around it and that combines with it. You have 6 different types of magic, right? Pyromancy. You can use ice, you can use lightning, there's earth, there's toxicity, and then there's using wind. Yeah, you can use the greatest magic of all that all gamers have. The way the magic is used and that they can deflect one another or they can combine with one another to make damage more dangerous or to save yourself is incredibly unique to that game. And I wish I could paint it in a more concise light, but I feel like I'm dragging on longer than it is. Like I've already talked a lot, but I might talk about Spellbreak more at a later day. Other than the fact that I really enjoy the way that gameplay is handled, the fact that you can use these magic systems in such a way that no other even game has been that I've seen been able to replicate. Like I've seen this metaphor used before, or this allegory, and it's someone said that Spellbreak was like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but as a battle royale, and that is probably as close of a game as one could get to being like Avatar: The Last Airbender and being a battle royale. What I would hope for the future of Spellbreak is that they go beyond just being a battle royale, that they adopt more of a smaller, condensed gameplay mode like Team Deathmatch or Capture the Flag or something that brings out more of the ingenuity and skill-based gameplay that's already there with what they have. Because, of course, the game is free to play, by the way. And it's cross-platform. You can get it on PS4, Xbox One, PC, even Switch, I believe, and you can all play at the same time, right? I believe it just requires having an Epic account. Oh boy, Epic Games, right? But Epic Games didn't make this though. The Spellbreak was made by hold on, I'm doing research. It was made by Proletariat Inc. Very great. I wish them the best of luck. I will be keeping an eye on their progress. I really hope that they break, if it's possible for them to break the Spellbreak. Wow. For them to Spellbreak out of the battle royale cushion that they've laid for themselves to branch off and to do other things, because they have a winning gameplay formula in what they already have. I'm sorry I've kept it as brief as I did, but there's more to it. I may talk about it later. Last game, Hades. Y'all may have heard about this game before. It's apparently the best 10 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10 that this year has had. And y'all, I am here to agree. Hades is like my number 3 game. Ghost of Tsushima being number 2, 13 Sentinels being number 1. But Hades is made by Supergiant. Same people who made Pyre, Transistor, and Bastion. So when they finally put Hades into version 1.1, I remember seeing a GIF about how they made it so you could pet Cerberus. I believe that was like last year even, or earlier this year. It was some odd time ago, but they made the ability where you could pet the 3-headed dog in Hades. I'm getting ahead of myself. Hades is a roguelike, but it is just like how Spellbreak is the more innovative take on skill-based gameplay in a battle royale. Hades is a more innovative, unique take on roguelikes by combining the roguelike gameplay with its narrative structure, where even if you fail, you're gonna get more story from your death. Because just to give you setting context, Hades takes place in Greek mythology. So you're dealing with, guess what? Hades, but you're also dealing with Zeus. You're dealing with other, we're dealing with other icons like Achilles. You're Cerberus, the 3-headed dog. You get to pet him, the best boy, right? but you also deal with like the Furies. You deal with you deal with Artemis. You deal with Athena. And death happens a lot in Greek mythology. So you'll be dying a lot, but every time you die, you come back to that same starting point deep down in Hades, Tartarus. And you discover more of the story, not only as you're progressing through the many different levels as you try to get out of Hades' grasp, but even when you go back into it. The gameplay is great. It's as well, it's the perfectly paced action game where you can choose your weapons, you can choose specific abilities that you have, you make meaningful decisions about how to buy certain items, about where to go, about what room you want to go in next, because this room might give you a certain ability where the other one might just give you more health or might heal you, for instance, because as with roguelikes, you have to go through each room is a wave, and as soon as you go through the room and you clear all the enemies, then you get the chance to move on to the next thing, and it gradually becomes harder and harder, which is why every time you die in Hades, you actually go back to your room and level up, becoming bigger and better. So even if you are terrible at the action portion of Hades, the game actually rewards you by giving you the ability to level up. This that actually flies in the face of stuff like Dark Souls, where you have to do good first and then take all of your good souls, your experience points, go back, then level up. Because if you die with all of that good stuff on you, you lose all of it. Whereas in Hades, if you go out, get all this good stuff, well, I don't mean like you get to keep all of the blessings or stuff that you have, but I mean experience points, the equivalent of experience points in Hades. You take that back with you when you die, and you become bigger, you become stronger. That way when you face those same rooms again, you're bigger and badder, versus if you were to keep going in the first place. But let me get that straight. The Souls way of doing things and the Hades way of doing things are both valid. I just really like, Hades has an amazing art style, bumping music. The gameplay is just my cup of tea, and you get to pet a 3-headed dog. What more can be said? Speaking of which, what more can be said in this GLOG? I have gone on for far much longer than the first GLOG was about. Well, now that we've found time to talk about things, I just really wanted to lay y'all into what the future is going to be about. Everything I've talked about, I will potentially talk about in another video in some way, shape, or form. But the last thing I'll say, I'll end my closing remarks with this one, especially when it comes to Demon's Souls and PS5. I might be going incognito in the near future, just for a little bit. I might keep myself silent, especially when it comes to Souls, because I'm not sure where my content will stand when it comes to making Souls stuff. At least when Dark Souls 3 was already a year out, and a lot of the online content creators were actually starting to leave Dark Souls by the first year, believe it or not. I took that opportunity to look at the mechanics in Dark Souls 3 that were not talked about. How useful is poison in Dark Souls 3? Or what are the active invasion ranges in Dark Souls 3? Where, the Infernal Plus said the Aquamarine Dagger is trash. Hold on a second. It got buffed. Nobody talked about it. Well, I say nobody talked about it. Here I am disparaging the people that actually did talk about it. There were people who did try it before and after the Aquamarine was buffed in stamina usage, but I felt nobody really gave it a fair shake, and I'm like, you know what? I want to try to use this weapon in a different manner than the rest of them. And it turns out I found a really fun weapon underneath that, and that spurred a whole series of itself, the whole underrated series. I felt like I might have gotten too carried away with the weapons I made, but I still feel good about the stuff I made in that aspect. And then the guides I made for Bloodborne, just to continue that trend going along. PS5 will have Bloodborne for free Here's a question. Will Bloodborne have updates for it? 60 FPS potentially? So far through the grapevine, we've heard that it might not have any upgrades whatsoever. In that case, that's the worst possible case scenario. While it's nice for Bloodborne to be on the PS5, a lot of old timers are really just wanting any sort of improvement for that game. And 60 FPS would be the bare minimum. It would feel great to go back to that game and it being a smooth 60. Great, amazing, but we still need to figure out how Bloodborne will act on PS5. It will probably just be, like I said, just a simple emulation of PS4 where the PS5 makes the loading times nearly non-existent and we have more consistent frame rate, but that frame rate will just be 30 FPS. So in that instance, rather than just going back to play Bloodborne, a lot of folks will be, if they can, and they have a PS5, they will make that move to Demon Souls. And here we are, whether or not we have the ability to buy Demon Souls. And Demon Souls being $70. I remember GOTY Video going out of his way to say in his most recent video about everything we knew about Demon Souls, that Demon Souls being arbitrarily raised to $70 was a bit of an issue. At the same time, he was talking about the deluxe edition, which I also have issues with. But I want to briefly talk about that instance where he said that Demon Souls arbitrarily being raised to $70 was an issue. I don't think new next-gen games being brought up to 70 is as much of an issue as the fact that the populace, us, the players, the people who work, aren't getting higher wages in this country. Oh, God, I brought up recent events again. But isn't that the truth? Like, listen, game development has not gotten cheaper after all these years. Game devs need to be paid. Lord knows they're being crunched, sucked dry of all of their hopes and dreams just to get games out. Naughty Dog, even CD Projekt Red making Cyberpunk, right? Game devs, they need their wages too, but what is going on here when the federal minimum wage hasn't been raised in decades? And so when the games are starting to get more expensive, but we are not getting paid anymore here on the bottom line, right? Here in the working class, the middle class, wherever you are, if you're not part of the elite club, you're down here, right? Paying for $70 games. Where are your wages at? What are your representatives doing for you? Are they helping to ensure that your job, that your employers aren't screwing you over? Like how somehow California was able to pass a proposition that the drivers for Uber, Lyft, you know that? You know those? Apparently they're not employees, but they're contractors. So they can't get employee benefits like healthcare. Oof, nice and easy. Do you know who the top donors were to try and get that proposition to pass? Who spent nearly 48 million a pop, each one of them, to get that proposition to pass, just so that their drivers could be seen as independent contractors and not as employees with their own benefits? But guess what? It was Uber, and it was Lyft, DoorDash. 48 million. Y'all can look up those numbers. Those exist. I'm sorry. We were talking about escapism, and now this brings us back. It's a hard thing to do, y'all. I wish I had the same capacity as like Saint Riot and Epic Name Bro to talk about these things, but occasionally this will come out. Because I don't know if y'all are okay with this, but at this point, I will say what I'm going to say. Rest assured, I'm not. Wherever my thoughts are, I want to keep it. I want to keep it centered. I want to keep it real. I want to try and make sure I reach out to as many people as I can, because it's y'all. It's us. At the end of the day, who are going on to watch these videos or play these games to be together with our friends, right? To be together with, or even with strangers, and at least to have a good time. And occasionally these things get brought up. And even if they do, I just want to say that whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream. But we're still here. And as long as we're still here and we're drawing breath, we carry a message that no one can take away from us. So again, I implore y'all, tell somebody you love them, tell somebody you care about them. I'll still be here doing what I do. I make no promises with whatever content I might make out. I will hold my horses for Demon Souls because I want to let everybody sort of make their, beginner, like their first week, their first month content for Demon Souls, right? And then I'll see where I stand. Because the same thing happened with Dark Souls 3. I'm going to wait and see what people leave behind or people misconstrue, and then I'll jump on it. Because at first, I just want to experience the game. Like, I want it to be my first go-through, and then afterwards, I'll see what's what. But until then, if something strikes me, I'll try to let that inspiration take me, and I'll make more stuff. Not just for myself, but for y'all. But until then, again, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We ain't dead yet. Whatever happens, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.